In this video, I'll tell you straight up what is the best investing platform to use to buy stocks, index funds, and so on here in Denmark. This is an extract from the content of my Investing in Denmark super course, but more on that later in the video. For context, when you want to buy stocks or index funds and so on, you need to buy it through a broker. Most of the times, these brokers are specialized brokers, but sometimes you can also buy things like this through your bank or through, for example, apps like Revolut and so on. Now, in the context of Denmark, there are two types of brokers or investment platforms you can use, broadly speaking. First is the Denmark-based brokers, and then the second one are the foreign-based brokers. So the Denmark-based brokers include like Nordnet, Saxo, and then, as I said, multiple banks like Danske Bank, Nordea, Jyske Bank, Sydbank, and so on. And the foreign-based brokers include the Giro, eToro, Revolut, and so on. This distinction is key because if I wouldn't live in Denmark, I would recommend you 100% go with a foreign broker. But because we live in Denmark, you just need to be aware of that there are certain rules and regulations that make it like a no-brainer to use a local broker. Again, Danish-based brokers will have higher fees to sell and buy stocks than a foreign broker would have. And also, let's say, foreign brokers would have even more selection of investments, and you can also likely get better deals on the currency exchange, as well and so on. But as you might imagine, Denmark has a very complicated tax setup, and like very complicated. And in case you want to follow the rules, and you must, if you want to, pay taxes correctly and not get into trouble with SCAT as well and so on, working with the Danish broker will make things infinitely easier for you. So like if you do, for instance, your brokerage or your buy and sell of stocks with Saxo or Nordnet, these companies will just do all the taxes for you, and then you don't need to worry about anything. You just need to pay the taxes when you're due, you get a bill and you're good. But you don't need to start calculating this and that. And the calculations, believe me, otherwise would be crazy. So this is key. When you work with a Danish broker, they will tell SCAT exactly how much you need to pay, and in some cases handle the payment themselves. So like straight from for instance, if you get dividends, boom, straight to SCAT. This is again a godsend because otherwise you'll likely have to be spending a ton of time plowing through numbers and still get things wrong. Like eToro might do a SCAT report for you, but it's not as good as like Nordnet or Saxo just telling SCAT exactly what you need to pay. You don't need to fill out any sheets, anything. They just do the whole thing themselves. And of course, there's something called the Active Sparekonto. There's gonna be a link to a video here where I explain this. And the Active Sparekonto is like the best deal to start investing here in Denmark. And you can only open this type of accounts with a Danish broker. As far as I know, there's no non-Danish broker that opens this. So with that long intro out of the way, my recommendation then is that we limit ourselves to Danish brokers. And in that context, there's only two to go through, like that I would recommend. One is Saxo and the other one is Nordnet. And of course, while Nordea, Danske Bank, and the other banks have their own investing setups, they are not as complete, they're not as good as, again, Saxo or Nordnet, plus they're a lot more expensive. So my rules of thumb are that if you want to be a stock picker, you should go with Saxo. And what is stock picker, I mean that you will choose the shares you want to invest yourself. So you say, I want to buy Tesla, I want to buy Apple, and so on. Saxo has lower fees across the board, so you can see that in the table linked here. And if you want to, again, buy individual stocks and do it actively, again, like while Nordnet will be good for stocks, you will likely get a lot better deals here in Saxo. Because, for instance, foreign stocks and so on, they're just a lot more expensive to buy in Nordnet than they're in Saxo. So again, if you are kind of this active type of investor, you will pay, again, fees not only when you buy, but also when you sell. And in that context, long-term setup of Saxo will make a difference. But then if you are more of a passive investor and you just want to buy index funds and stocks and so on, but do it automatically without timing the market and not sell anytime soon, then you would go with Nordnet. In other words, like if you're this type of person, you will be the perfect customer for what they call the money sparring, which I will also link over here. I explained money sparring, as I said in this video, but the gist is that Nordnet will buy up to 4 assets, so 4 index funds, 4 stocks as well and so on, once a month, every month, automatically and for no fees. And this is a popular setup, and this is what I do myself, again, for investing. So wrapping up, my rule of thumbs until now is that you should use a Danish-based broker if you live in Denmark. Otherwise, SCAT is going to complicate things for you. Then if you want to be an active type of investor, use Saxo. And if you want to be a more passive investor, then you should use Nordnet. But there's few more, let's say, smaller considerations to take into account. In Saxo, you'll have access to over 17 stock markets, and in Nordnet to just 9. again, if you want to do just US and Europe, maybe you're okay just with Nordnet. But again, if you want more flexibility, Saxo is good for that. Then the user interface, for example, in my opinion, in Nordnet is just so much nicer than Saxo. I personally can't get myself to use Saxo because it just looks ugly. But again, like, it's up to you. In my opinion, this is something important. For some people, it's like, okay, it's my money, I want to save more money, I use Saxo. So up to you. Again, as I said, I use Nordnet myself, but again, that's because my portfolio is like 90% indexes and I don't want to time the market. I just want it easy for me, right? So I have some individual stocks here and there that I bought, but I have been doing that in Revolut for some time, and it's again not optimal for SCAT, but whatever. If you're the type of person who wants to do both things, yes, you can have both an account in Saxo and in Nordnet. I mean, there are no fees to open the accounts and to have an account. So if you want to mix and match the style between the two extremes and be like very active in one end and then very passive on the other one, you can have again accounts in two places. The only thing you should know again is that if you are focusing specifically on the actividades per conto, you can only have one actividades per conto, so it has to be either in Saxo or in Nordnet. You can have one actividades per conto in both. If this type of content is something that you're interested in and you want to learn more about investing in Denmark and how to make again the most of your options and just have a clear roadmap again for you just to know, okay, this is how you can make your money multiply with the least amount of effort, you will want to see my Investing in Denmark course. So if you want to see exactly, for instance, how I invest in myself, how I minimize taxes, who I work with, and what do I buy specifically, like what is exactly my portfolio, you should definitely check the course out. I spent, over 10 years now learning and researching and investing, on reading investing books and everything that you could imagine about Denmark as well. So it's like 200 books, interviewed experts, I took a multitude of online courses. I would think that I know my stuff when it comes to this, and this is my ultimate bulletproof kind of step-by-step system to achieve financial independence in Denmark. The course will give you the tools, again, you finally set yourself into a path of financial independence. And the course is very specific, so include the exact concepts and systems and examples that you can use again right now. It's 3 hours worth of new material that you can apply again immediately. You can take it, of course, at your own pace or revisit whenever you want. Again, it's like you pay once and you have forever the material. And the course, like all of my material, is very, very practical. So if you already tried a list of like hacks and you just want to get to the point of, okay, I want something that works and a clear roadmap that you don't need to think too much about it and you just get it done. This is so easy and full of actionable steps that again, anyone can take. And the list of what we cover in the course is huge, but includes things like, again, financial independence calculations, making it Denmark specific. So like the investment and so on dashboards I use myself to know exactly net worth and other type of things like that. The investing best practices and everything again that I have learned through like all these books I have read and courses I have took and so on investing at a high level. Then everything you need to know about taxes and Danish pensions, what you need to do and pay when you leave Denmark and so on. And again, as I said, for some people it's very interesting also to see my own investment portfolio, and I go through and break down my investment portfolio and asset allocation. You can also see exactly how much money it's there in case that's what you're interested, but again, it's all in the course. And one thing that is very important about the course as well is that I update the course regularly, and with each update I added new sections, new videos, spreadsheets, Q&A and so on. The dates are free for everyone who already bought the course, and there's again a course link in the video description. With that, to hear more about how I use Nordnet, there's this video over here where I go through the money subscribing setup for investing. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.